There is a kind of violence we rarely recognize. Not the kind carried out by hands, but the kind carried by thought. Thought cannot be touched. It leaves no immediate trace. It makes no sound when it forms. And yet, it is what shapes what eventually becomes physical. We like to believe that harm begins when a weapon is lifted. It does not. Long before that moment, something else has already taken root. The truth is, by the time a weapon is in someone's hand, a quiet permission has already been accepted. A conclusion, a certainty, a belief about who deserves to remain and who does not. Not because people wake up intending destruction, but because they accept patterns of thought, often inherited, passed down quietly through generations, that make destruction feel justified. It does not begin with action, it begins with agreement. Agreement that they are the problem. Agreement that they are dangerous. Agreement that there is no other way. And once that agreement settles, action no longer feels like violence. It feels like necessity. This is how ordinary people come to support extraordinary harm. Not only those who act, but those who speak, those who endorse, those who justify, even those who sanctify. Because not every hand that holds a weapon is the only hand involved. And not every hand involved is seen. There are those who finance, those who approve, those who frame it as righteous, those who bless what should never be blessed. And then there are those who simply agree. We speak often about indoctrination, but almost always in others. But do we ever turn inward and ask, what beliefs am I holding that could, under the right conditions, make harm feel reasonable? Because the truth is, we may never hold a weapon. We may never stand in a place where we are asked to act. And still, we are not separate from the outcome. But through our thoughts, through our words, through what we agree with, we participate. We decide what we feed. And what we feed does not remain contained. It gathers, it strengthens, it moves. It finds voice in those who speak hatred. It finds force in those who carry violence. It finds form in the hands that act. And all the while, it is also shaping the one who carries it. Because a thought held long enough does not only move outward, it settles inward. It alters perception, it narrows compassion, it hardens what was once open, until the vessel itself begins to reflect what it holds. And that vessel is not somewhere else. It is us. And perhaps just as important, we rarely stop to ask what has been feeding us, what we listen to, what we repeat, what we entertain without question. Because thought does not arrive untouched. It is shaped, influenced, cultivated, often without our awareness. And perhaps the most dangerous thought is not the one that is extreme, but the one we no longer question.